Our top stories. St. Kitts and Nevis receives its share of the COVID-19 vaccines from the COVAX facility. COVID-19 restrictions on tourists coming to St. Kitts and Nevis may be relaxed soon, hints Tourism Minister. And in sports, Old Road Jets demolish their opponents in Premier League football. Hi, I'm Abby Diskin. Welcome to the SKN Newsline newscast. 21,600 doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccines arrived at the RLB International Airport on Wednesday afternoon. The vaccines were due to arrive Tuesday night, but there was a change in the arrival time to Wednesday afternoon. Our news team was at the airport Wednesday and filed this report.
We're at the Robert L. Batch International Airport, where government officials from the Ministry of Health as well as the Prime Minister of the country will be accepting the arrival of about 20,600 doses of vaccines through the COVAX facility, to which the government of St. Kitts and Nevis had made a contribution. And so we await the arrival, and we will be hearing from the officials mainly the message that we should be getting vaccinated so that we can reopen the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis fully. We report that the COVAX facility was established so that countries that are in a position such as St. Kitts and Nevis that are vulnerable to the spread of the COVID-19 virus can have access to the various vaccines that are being produced. But particularly this afternoon, we are here to accept the AstraZeneca vaccine that will be arriving in just a short while.
As of yesterday, April 6, 2021, in an effort coordinated by the Congo revolving fund, 2.8 million doses have been delivered and are being deployed to the countries and region of the Americas, inclusive of our global region. Congo's revolving fund is facilitating access to COVID-19 vaccines for countries in the Americas that are participating in the COVAX facility, and is working with UNICEF and vaccine manufacturers to organize deliveries as quickly as possible. The doses and availability of vaccines under COVAX are subject to the emergency use approval by WHO, the manufacturing production capacity, as well as establishing supply agreements between the producers and the COVAX facility. The pre-qualification of vaccines to be used through COVAX allows pharma to offer vaccines with the highest effectiveness and safety standards. Vaccine supply continues to be a great challenge, and a large part of this is due to delays in production as manufacturers scale up capacity. The goal of the COVAX facility is to provide vaccines for at least 20% of the population in each participating country globally, with the aim of protecting those most at risk and to save lives.
And today, I just want to remind everyone, the pandemic will not be over until we all do our part. We now have 21,600 doses, and we are counting on each and everyone who is eligible to step forward and to be vaccinated. If it is you still need more information about the vaccines, 311 operators are available. Don't let your lack of knowledge be an excuse for not being able to step forward and be vaccinated.
We are, of course, thankful that we had engaged in the COVAX facility very early. In fact, we were among the first within the region to have signed and paid monies to secure this support coming through the COVAX facility. At long last today, we welcome this quantity of the AstraZeneca vaccine. AstraZeneca vaccine remains the vaccine of choice within our Caribbean region. And we are happy that at long last we have had a significant support over the last couple of days of the vaccine being provided through this facility.
I believe the message has been very clear that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis should make use of the AstraZeneca vaccine that is available to us in St. Kitts and Nevis. We've just accepted another batch, this time coming from the COVAX facility, and officials say that it's very safe. So from Robert L. Batcher International Airport, we have just received another set of vaccines. This is Glenn Black reporting for SKN Newsline.
Next week, residents and citizens of the Federation will know about new measures the government will be announcing as it changes COVID-19 restrictions for tourists visiting the country. Tourism Minister Lindsey Grant hinted to this during a tourism panel discussion on Wednesday. More in this report from Andre Huey.
There will be an easing of some of the COVID-19 restrictions for tourists coming to St. Kitts and Nevis, which will be announced as early as next week, disclosed Tourism Minister Lindsey Grant. He made this disclosure during a virtual panel discussion organized by the Caribbean Tourism Organization, CTO, which was live-streamed on Wednesday on the organization's Facebook page.
COVID has certainly knocked the energy and the wind out of our sails. But I think there's hope with the vaccine. There's light at the end of the tunnel. And we just have to make sure that we stay the course and ensure that we are all brother's keeper at the end of the day. We've learned from some of the other islands, and I'm sure that they have learned from us too, because this is an evolving pandemic. Something changes every day and it's a fluid situation. So we really have to be on our toes and move with the times and ensure we know what we are doing. I must say we are going to introduce some new protocols next week. Those will be announced on Wednesday, I think it is, because as we ramp up, we're going to be changing. And so we are hoping that very, very shortly, next week, we'll come with some new protocols, easing some of the requirements, etc., based upon what's happening on the ground today.
Minister Grant said he is confident that St. Kitts and Nevis will reach the target of vaccinating 70% of the population by July or August, thus relaxing COVID restrictions for visitors, which will lead to a greater reopening of the tourism sector.
But what we have done, we have gone to every single community in community centers, having education exercises, and at the same time vaccinating persons who wish to be vaccinated on the spot. In fact, just this morning, I just came from another session at the entrance to our cruise pay facility, where we are doing all the retailers and wholesalers, etc. So we are really carrying the vaccination process to the people. You don't have to make an appointment. We're just saying, look, come when it's open, get vaccinated so we can get our numbers up. And so we are confident that come July, August, we will reach our peak of 70% for our herd immunity, and then we can change our protocols at the same time.
In addition to Minister Grant, the CTO panel on Wednesday comprised ministers of tourism from Dominica, Barbados, Anguilla, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Currently, tourists coming to the Federation are required to quarantine for 7 days in the first instance, where they have a vacation-in-place experience at their hotels. After 7 days, they are tested and upon returning a negative result, would be allowed access to tours at attraction sites around the country in a confined setting for the duration of their stay. Minister Grant commended the hotels that have been offering a vacation in place at their properties for being innovative. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
Welcome back. Premier of Nevis, Mark Brantley, is calling on the Nevisian public to vaccinate now that the next batch of COVID-19 vaccines have arrived. But are some people still hesitant in getting the vaccine because of the bad press the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine is getting globally? Andre Huey explored this issue.
Premier Mark Brantley is encouraging the Nevisian population to get vaccinated now that another batch of COVID-19 vaccines have arrived in the Federation. In a press release from the Nevis Island administration, Mr. Brantley said he's happy that the long-awaited vaccines from the COVAX facility are now due and encouraged people to continue to protect themselves and their families and the country by getting vaccinated against the deadly coronavirus. The Nevis government rolled out its COVID-19 vaccination program on February 24th. 21,600 doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccines through the COVAX facility arrived in the Federation on Wednesday, April 7th. As of April 6th, 2,449 persons on Nevis had received their first dose of the vaccine. Premier Brantley has advised citizens and residents that achieving herd immunity, where at least 70% of the population is inoculated against the disease, is the pathway to fully reopen the country. Vaccination, he said, continues to be our only way out of this pandemic so that we can get our economy back on track and get our country working again. St. Kitts and Nevis, like the rest of the developing world, uses the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. But internationally, the brand has been getting bad press due to some countries suspending its use after concerns some persons who received the vaccine experienced blood clots. Scientists continue to assert that the benefits in getting the vaccine far outweighs the risks and that there is no scientific evidence the vaccine causes blood clots. But some believe the bad press the AstraZeneca vaccine is getting globally creates some hesitancy in the local population getting vaccinated.
The AstraZeneca has gotten the most press out of all the vaccines, but there have also been reports on other vaccines as well. But it doesn't indicate that these vaccines are necessarily causing these blood clots. Okay, I want to make that very clear. Blood clots happen regardless if you have a vaccine or not, and these reports are very few in number. I believe the latest report I saw was from the UK. I believe 7 individuals got blood clots. But again, blood clots happen. Diseases still occur regardless of you being vaccinated. If the numbers were a bit higher, it would scream more of an alarm in my head. But as medicine goes, you always want to be cautious and make sure. So I believe that's what these countries are doing. They're being cautious regarding that. So they're going to do their research to find out the actual cause.
I'm Andre Huey reporting for SKN Newsline. Elliott's Funeral Parlor is the first licensed embalmer in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We have a friendly and professional staff. At Elliott's Funeral Parlor, we offer a wide range of packages from $6,500. Homegoing service at chapel, locally made caskets, tailoring of outfit for deceased of your choice, wake, overnight with slideshow, funeral, death announcement, obituary, booklets, family pin-ons, memorial books, preparation of funeral arrangements, wreath, fresh and artificial, caskets, live streaming, vaults, tombstone, grave marker, international shipping, import and export, mounted oversized ultimate 1,000 pounds body lift, 24 hours removal and transportation services, walk-in refrigerator unit for temperature-controlled body storage, prep room with embalming station, and an assortment of embalming fluids and accessories, a mortician, cosmetologist, or restorative makeup artist. For further information, call 469-3298, 664-2007, or 660-0186. Elliott's Funeral Parlor in Gingerland, Nevis, dedicated to those we serve. Football is back, and the St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association will be bringing you live football on its website, www.sknfa.com, with Premier League Live. Without fans in the stadium due to COVID-19 protocols, you can now watch every single Premier League match this season on www.sknfa.com and click on Live TV. Games are shown live on every match day with halftime and post-game shows. It's Premier League Live. Commentary, analysis, action. Never miss a game. Autoplus Car Wash, located on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Bring your car to Autoplus Car Wash to remove water stains, wiper marks. Get your doors, roof panel cleaned, seat floor mats, buffing, headlights, and engine wash. You get quality service at the best price at Autoplus Car Wash. They really care for your car. Call 765-5140 or visit them on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Autoplus Car Wash, where the service is number one.
Welcome back. We now turn our attention to the regional news. The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago has tested positive for COVID-19. We have more in this TTT report.
The health minister has refuted claims that news of the Prime Minister contracting COVID-19 is in any way to avoid taking the COVID-19 AstraZeneca vaccine. In a media release on Tuesday morning, the Office of the Prime Minister said that Dr. Keith Rowley presented flu-like symptoms on Monday and subsequently tested positive for the virus. During a media conference on Tuesday, Mr. Dialsingh indicated that all information regarding his condition will be communicated via the Office of the Prime Minister. He noted, though, that it was just a coincidence that the Prime Minister tested positive for the virus on the same day he was expected to be vaccinated.
The Prime Minister is a very upright, straightforward person, and he has, as the press release said, contracted COVID-19. And when you contract COVID-19, and if you have any flu-like symptoms, you cannot take any vaccine. Is that correct, nurse? Even if you have a stuffy nose, a fever, you can't take any vaccine.
Mr. Dialsingh added that contact tracing has also commenced to determine how the Prime Minister contracted the virus.
We do for all persons who are positive. For all persons, this is standard operating procedure, and that has begun, yes, in Tobago. And where are we with that? Can you share any details? I don't have those details. The contact tracers will have that.
The health minister could not say whether the Prime Minister was at a health facility, but said that all protocols of self-isolation were being followed. He said his last physical contact with the Prime Minister was at the media conference hosted on March 27. Mr. Dialsingh also denied rumors that Chief Medical Officer Dr. Roshan Parasram has also contracted the virus.
The St. Lucia police reported 73 curfew breaches and 19 arrests during the Easter holidays, despite revised curfew times to mitigate spread of the deadly coronavirus. We have more in this report from HTS-TV in St. Lucia.
COVID-19 wardens and police were on the prowl over the extended Easter weekend, seeking to enforce the COVID-19 protocols. Easter is normally a time for reflection and celebration, but this is the era of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the government, in an effort to contain the spread of the virus, extended the curfew hours. The new restrictions were not powerful enough a deterrent to stop those bent on having their parties and social gatherings. The speed and stamina of law enforcers were tested on the open plains of Cul-de-sac as they moved in to stop a suspected beach bash.
Oh my God! People can't even breathe right there! Oh, people can't even breathe! What's that? For what they're doing that?
Raving river limes were halted long ahead of the extended end time, with some of the attendees and organizers warned in some cases, and for the less lucky, charged for the offenses. One restaurant and bar operator in Viewfort was incensed by the police intervention and live streamed the event on Facebook. She complained that she's being targeted.
Honestly, I am so in awe and in shock. Hey guys, we are currently live with the police force because they would like to shut us down in St. Lucia for unlawful police gathering. So I'm just letting everybody know, block your faces if you'd like. I'm just letting everyone know that we're on live because the police in St. Lucia would like us to shut down for an unlawful gathering. This will be taped and let everyone know how socially distanced we are. This is a minimum of 10 feet, minimum 6 feet. In St. Lucia, we have our lawyers joining us now. This is minimum 10 feet. And on the outside, we have people here. We have a table here and a table here, about 12 to 15 feet.
Police issued a long list of interventions during the Easter weekend. This includes 73 curfew breaches, resulting in 7 arrests. 2 bar owners arrested for breaches. 3 mass crowd events stopped. 2 omnibus operators warned for exceeding the passenger limits. Further, The police efforts on the weekend resulted in 299 people being searched, 890 vehicles checked, 21 of which were impounded, among them 14 motorcycles with 111 tickets issued. Video emerged of an apparent non-fatal shooting in Dennery, but neither the police nor the emergency services reported it.
Shoot the man in his feet here, in his toes here. What the toes bleed there? What the toes bleed? Yeah. That is in Dennery there. That is in Dennery there.
There were registered successes in the effort to abate serious crime, with the seizure of 58 dangerous instruments and 14 rounds of ammunition. There was no registered homicide on the extended Easter weekend. Stanley Lucien for the HGS News Force.
The IMF increased its projection for world economic growth in 2021 from 5.5% to 6%. As a result, it says, of trillions of dollars of pandemic stimulus and the international rollout of COVID vaccines. Global GDP had contracted 3.3% in 2020.
Over the past year,
but the IMF's chief economist is warning that almost 95 million people have fallen below the threshold of extreme poverty around the world due to the pandemic, including within industrialized nations, and developing countries remain vulnerable.
A similarly ambitious effort is now needed at the multilateral level to secure the recovery and build forward better. Without additional effort to give all people a fair shot, cross-country gaps in living standards could widen significantly, and decades-long progress in global poverty reduction could reverse.
But long-time watchers of the IMF and World Bank argue that it is precisely the policies of the IMF and World Bank that foster that income inequality, despite what in recent years has become the traditional rhetoric of concern used at the annual spring meeting.
We see the IMF's research department putting out great materials and recognizing problems like inequality and talking about an inclusive recovery and climate change and all these things that sound very good. But at the country level, if you look at the advice given and the programs, it's all the same from, decades ago. And it's just a disconnect between these two parts at the IMF.
Ahead of the meeting, hundreds of civil society groups wrote to the IMF and World Bank decrying their insistence on austerity programs that cut education and health services in developing nations in return for loans, as well as their performance on climate change, which they see as inadequate. In addition, the figures for projected economic growth released on Tuesday are all dependent on universal global access to a COVID vaccine. Yet the IMF hasn't spoken out in favor of waiving international patents on those vaccines, something the Biden administration is fighting, even though it was public money that paid for their research. Without that, some economists argue that any stated policies about building forward better are hollow for the developing world. Shia Britansi, Al Jazeera, Washington.
In sports, KFC United Old Road Jets demolished Trafalgar South Stars 12-0 in the SKNFA Premier League. Andre Huey has the details.
Tiquani Williams of KFC United Old Road Jets was the star of the night in the third of a SKNFA Premier League triple header on Sunday. He scored a hat-trick, delivered a handful of assists, and bossed the match as Old Road mauled Trafalgar South Stars 12 goals to 0 in the SKNFA Premier League at the Warner Park. Nequan Brown, Kamai Pemberton, Cordell Joseph, and others all got a piece of the goal-scoring action. It was one-way traffic for virtually the entire match, as Old Road had 18 shots on target. South Stars only 1. Eventually, referee Nicholas Rose ended the match 3 minutes before regulation time, as if to exercise the mercy rule for South Stars. The match was broadcast live on the SKNFA website, www.sknfa.com. Here are the highlights.
Into counter-attack. Trying for a high press. And you get the counter. Taekwani has it under control. Got it on the inside. Puts the man to the ground. And this should be a goal in the back of the net. Coming forward, Jets. Looks like Grant. Grant trying to get into the box. Grant going at goal. Off the pass. Into the back of the net. Mitchum couldn't handle that one. And now clear. Now they can go forward. Taekwani taking on a man. Shielding the ball. Releasing Nijan Brown. Nijan Brown is in. It's number 3. Nijan Brown.
But here we have Old Road.
Taekwani. This could be dangerous. Taekwani is asking. And Taekwani gets it. A penalty. Taekwani scores. Beats him to the left. Picked off by Gums. Gums up to Kaelan. Kaelan, one touch pass. One touch, two touch, one touch, and Nijan is in. Nijan is in. Number 6. Attack down the left side. He's onside. Kaelan comes back on the inside. Dummies to Taekwani. Taekwani trying to get through. Taekwani got a shot. Taekwani hits it in the goal. 7. You asked for it, Val. There is your number 7.
Yes, Al, I really did ask for it. And I think that completes Taekwani Williams' hat-trick, Al. So Taekwani Williams with a hat-trick in this game.
Long counter. And Taekwani can speed away from this man. Puts him on the ground. Taekwani going into the box. This could be number 4 for him. He slides it unselfish to Hobson. Hobson has an open net. Number 8. Here they come again. Looking for number 9. Carmike Pemberton shoots a goal. It's there. It's there. Number 9. Pemberton. Through the legs of Mitchum. Has to get help. Drops it off. Akardel Joseph. Number 10. Double figures as we predicted.
Yes, Al, you really predicted it. And as you can see, goalkeeper Mitchum caught in nowhere's land. And Old Road looking to at least score. I think they're looking to at least score 15 here, Al. They have some 14 minutes plus extra time.
Kaelan over to man on the goal, shoots and makes it number 11. Carmike, the ball doing its work, knocking on the ball. Kishan hits it high, looping over to Taekwani on the far side of the ball, coming off a defender. Now it's 12. Carmike following up. The keeper and the defender. Missed communication, and the distraught and the disappointment and the frustration is more than obvious now.
Commentators Al Edwards and Valentine Anthony. South Stars player Rendell Theodule was sent off late in the match after picking up his second yellow card. Hence, South Stars finished the game with 10 players. After the match, coach of the Old Road Jets, Lester Morris, lauded his team for keeping a clean sheet and getting as many goals as possible.
Yeah, we came into this game thinking about keeping a clean sheet, and I thought that we was equal to that. The other thing was basically to go out there and get as much goal as possible, and again we would have demonstrated that by getting 12 goals tonight, 12 unanswered goals. I thought that the guys would have exuberated themselves well. They kept possession of the ball well. And of course, the things that we did on the training pitch came to fruition tonight. The guys really crashed the box. We had both strikers crashing the box, and at least the CAM as well crashing the box. And the person's playing, if we're playing from the left to the right side, then the opposite person crashing from the outside as well. And so most of our goals tonight was cleanly taken, and I must tip my hats to the guys tonight. Well played.
The huge victory meant Old Road have shot up into 4th place, ahead of Fast Cash Saddlers on goal difference. With those 12 unanswered goals in the South Stars match, and with the results from Saddlers in their earlier match, Old Road has a goal difference of +4. 4 ahead of Saddlers, +10. South Stars, on the other hand, having suffered 2 losses in 5 days, are at the bottom of the table yet to register a point. They lost to newly promoted Hot Springs Bath United in their last encounter last week Wednesday, giving Bath their first win of the season.
And that will do it for this edition of the SKN Newsline newscast. From all of us at SKN Newsline and Channel 95, I'm Abby Diskin. Thank you for watching.